That's where I've I've most intimately encountered the Spirit.
And so you mentioned that this is part of how you find God, what when you're doing the work. What pops into my head was I feel like it was from Chariots of Fire where Eric, the main character, says that when he runs,
Yes,
he feels God's pleasure. And that's kind of what
absolutely.
it sounds like what you're describing. Can you explain, like, how is this an act of worship to you?
Mm. Yeah, I mean, gosh, I don't know how long we actually have on here because this is, I mean, it would take,
Yeah,
you're talking about the majority of my life. That's where I've I've most intimately encountered the Spirit because it's one thing to go to church and to be enthralled by a good sermon or participate in um, that sort of collective worship, praise and worship time, or even climb a mountain and see God's glory. I find Him in the intimate, in the most intimate ways when I'm at work. It's like He shows up in just these unbelievable ways,
hmm
and where um, he speaks through what I'm doing, or it's like I'll get to a point where it's like I've exhausted my talent, I've exhausted my skill, and I'm in way over my depths on some art piece,
yeah.
that I've tried to do, um, and then somehow it's like God makes uh, makes a way. Like, for instance, there was this calligraphic piece that I was doing, and it's Isaiah. It was the verse Isaiah 53, 4 and 5.
Mm-hmm.
And this will be a challenge to describe just orally, but essentially the verse, I wrote the verse as in the shape of the crown of thorns. And I wrote this piece and expecting to do it 3 or 4 times to get the spacing right, and
Mhm.
it landed perfectly
Right.
right where it had begun.
Yeah.
And there were always line breaks, and so it was one of those moments where it was like I knew that there was a power at work beyond my
Right.
skill, because I
Sure.
never could have done that.
Right.
And so I had like tears in my eyes at the moment, and I
Yeah.
slowly like pushed myself back from the table,
Right.
because it was just I knew that I was on holy ground. And so there's thousands upon thousands of moments like that where
Mhm.
it's like God draws me in to the beauty of His creation.